What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Lean and Mean Academy. Today, we got a special guest, my boy Chris Lonergan from Footbridge Media. And the chatter in the inner circle and in some of the Facebook groups that I've been looking at, as well as on the channel, as far as some of the changes that Google has been making to Google My Business, like some crazy stuff, dude. They don't even know which way is up right now. I don't know who's running the show over there. Chris is going to talk a little bit about that. And also a brand new update that is kind of sifting out the riffraff of the old gaming the system as far as content goes. Before we jump into this, if you're looking to get a website like mine that ranks well, we just closed I think a hospital cleaning, 30 apartment complex that we did, me and Ben Wilson, another few big jobs. If you're looking to kind of capture the market with your website, with your Google My Business, and you're looking for a partner in that regard, I would look no further than Footbridge Media. They've ran my site and my brother's site and a ton of guys in the inner circle for, well, at least mine for about 5 years now. And the experience has been excellent. If you're wanting the $199 deal, I negotiated a deal with them that is special for you. Click the first link in the description, first link in the comments. It'll take you to it. I know you're going to love it. What is up, Chris? How you doing?
How's it going? We're doing good, Aaron. We're doing good. We're trying to keep up with Google at this point.
That sounds like that's a fun endeavor, considering how wild everything has been since 2020. And I know we talked a little bit about the whole COVID thing, but I feel like we're getting a little away from that. But there are still some little ticks in the system, and they're kind of being, I'll just be honest, man, they're being kind of assholes.
It's problematic to say the least. Yeah, we'll say that.
That is the diplomatic way of dealing with it. So let's talk about this. We kind of went over a few things. One thing that's been a big experience from the guys in the inner circle recently, and just on the channel, is Google has been just banning GMBs left and right. Will you talk a little bit about these random bans that we're seeing all over the place?
Absolutely. I mean, you said you heard it from your guys, and we've seen it on our end as well. We've seen what seem like random bans of GMBs or GPBs or whatever we're going to call them now. Those Google listings. Sometimes it's been clients who haven't made single change to their listing. All of a sudden, whether it is some sort of automated change on Google's end, or whether maybe a competitor is going around and being a little nefarious and trying to report folks, we're seeing a lot of what seem to be random dropouts. Where all of a sudden your once public listing goes private, it goes into kind of an invisible mode for you to try to fix things, and you've got to work with Google support to do that. Of course, Google support for GMBs and GPBs is very sparse. There's a lot of folks there to help right now because they're so busy. So you end up chasing yourself in a circle for a while. There are so many ways to try to reach out to Google, and it takes a lot of effort to get it done right, to try to get your unlisted listing back public again.
Now, I know you guys have Sarah over there, and Sarah is kind of the, I don't want to say that she's a magician, but she does have a way of reaching out to Google that has proven very effective as far as for your clients go, to get those listings back up and verified, and just giving Google the credentials that they're asking for to validate the listing. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. She's one of our staff members here who does nothing but handles Google issues all day long. So she's got some really good recipes down, some really good methods down for handling these situations. And even then, it's not an easy task. That's what she does full time. And we've seen a couple instances where it takes at minimum 2 weeks to get a listing back up and running. And that's with someone looking at it, actively reviewing it, constantly doing everything they need to do to get it up and running. And 2 weeks, that's it's 1/26th of your year. That's a good chunk of time that you're just not visible in Google Maps. And we understand that's a major problem. It's incredibly incredibly dire if you lose all your reviews, or if you lose access to your listing entirely. A lot can go wrong. So yeah, there's a lot of finesse there that goes in trying to get that up as quickly as possible, while also playing within Google's rules. They're published ones and they're maybe not so published ones for how to get things back up and running quickly.
So tell me a little bit about why do they seem so kind of disoriented. You know, they're like that. They're like a drunk dude on Bourbon Street right now. Like, bro, what are you doing?
It's like midnight, 1 in the morning. You've
That's
been in
what
one too many
Google's,
piano
that's how
bars.
they're acting, man. What's up with that?
There's been there's been a lot of concern about there's just not enough support anymore. They even used to have a 1-800 number where you can call and schedule for GMB support. When that went away, there was a time where you could set up and schedule a phone call where you could set up a time for someone to call you. And now the most they have are these entry forms. They're basically common support forms, and you can only hope for the best that a human will eventually get to your problem. There's only so much the automated system can do. And that's usually the result, the reason why all these delays go on and why you have to be the squeaky wheel to get the interaction you need, the eyes you need to get things fixed up. There's just, I think, not enough bodies. And there are so many people trying to get Google listings, honestly, and unfortunately, some not so honestly, that it's just a lot for them to filter through right now.
Right. So it's very interesting to me because they're not going to do away with local business because local business feeds, a giant portion of their ad spend. And I just think it's a major portion to be overlooked, right? Like to
Absolutely.
be put on the back burner. It's very weird to me like that because I feel like local business makes them a lot of money via ads and via other things. I mean, if you can imagine guys having 1 million people paying you $1,000 a month just for their little pressure washing business, you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of money monthly coming in that is interestingly being overlooked. So let's talk about the helpful content update. Now, this is a very interesting one. I think Google has always wanted to try to give the end user the best result, the most authoritative result possible to satisfy their need, right? Otherwise, they know that they would go where? To Google, to Yahoo, to Bing. They would go to DuckDuckGo, by God. So Google's end goal is always to keep you on their platform. The more they can keep you on their platform, the more data they can have on you, the more they can, give you ads, right? It's all about ad spend. Okay. At the end of the day, Chris, talk about the helpful content update.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that's happened within the last month, so in August of 2022. And to start off, Google almost never names their updates. Usually they roll out an update or they don't even say anything. A bunch of people in the search engine optimization community catch wind and they name it something funny or whatever they want. Google actually came out and said, this is the helpful content update, and here's why. At the end of the day, Google has always been trying to fight people who game the system. That's what SEO is. You're ultimately trying to figure out how to rank better in Google, whether it's with your content or with your code or however you're going to do it. Specifically for this helpful content update from Google, they're trying to get people who only write for search engines and trying to make that content not work as well. So that's hitting a lot of folks really hard, like publishers, or a lot of people think of like those recipe websites where you look up you want a stew recipe and you have to read through someone's life story and their family history about why the stew is so important to them emotionally and spiritually before you get to the thing you want.
Right.
That's part of what Google's trying to cut out. They want people, like you said, to get the thing they want fast, trying to cut out the fluff, trying to cut out the stuff that's built for machines, and trying to get it to where people get the content that answers their questions. Like you said, at the end of the day, it's all Google wants. They want you to put in a query. They want you to be happy with what you found, so you come back again. And
so,
the helpful content update is focused really hard on the text and the content side of things.
Interesting. So I know that you guys, when you build a site, y'all are writing all the content and y'all are really writing for the end user. I think, y'all don't do any keyword stuffing or anything like that. I mean, which is kind of like old stuff, but I guess you could try to what's a mid-grade keyword stuff? I don't know.
It's a dance. It's definitely a dance. You at the end of the day, everyone is trying to game Google.
Right.
No one's just putting content out there because they want to feel good and publish things. No, you want it to be seen. So that's not to say that there's nothing that you should specifically do or not do for the sake of Google, but you have to know the balance. And at the end of the day, you have to make sure that question's being answered.
Right.
That's why when we write content, we're presenting content that is helpful for search engines, sure, but it also has to make sense for people too. So if someone, if someone's looking for pressure washer, they want to know, why do I need to power wash my driveway? They're going to ask that question, and you need to answer that with your content. So we'll tell you the benefits of why that works out. How does that help you, and why your company is the great choice to do that? Giving them that content is exactly what a user is looking for. They don't want to see an article that says driveway washing and specific variations of driveway washing 10 times within the first, 30 sentences.
So how has that bled into Google My Business? Because, when it comes to posting on your Google My Business profile, it seems that Google has started to kind of up some security situation on what can be posted. Sometimes now they're not even letting you post what you used to be able to post. If it has like a link in it or something like that, they're like, nah, can't post that. They'll deny you.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of change with posts. I mean, now, which is slightly older news, but now those posts hang out for longer too. They're making a lot of tweaks behind the scenes on what at one point was kind of a throwaway thing, those GMB posts or GPB
Mhm.
posts. So yeah, I think it all feeds into, at the end of the day, trying to have content that keeps you coming back to Google. And they know that they don't want you to post something spammy. They knew people were gaming the system with posts and putting out an offer with an expiration date instead of just a regular post. They knew what people were doing there, so they took that away from you. At the end of the day, we always say that we hate that. They're the only cat in town, though. You got to play by the rules in some of those instances, and they're trying to reward the folks that are doing that, whether it's on GPB or on your own website organically.
The funny thing is when they do this, they just create another game.
Oh yeah. All right, how do we do this now? Hold on.
That's all they do. They're like, no, we're moving the pieces. It's like, okay, there's another game over here,
Yep.
and SEO figure that
We're all
out.
getting out our SEO beakers and test tubes and trying to figure out what's going on now.
That's right. That is exactly right. Awesome, dude. So that is the state of the union of Google as we speak. We need to do more of these videos because some of the guys who don't have Footbridge yet, I just tell them I can't help you, bro. If you don't have Sarah in your corner, Sarah has the best job security of anyone, frankly. like you don't have Sarah in your corner, I don't know what you're doing, because if my GMB went down, I would just call up Footbridge and say, hey, like, Sarah, will you help me out with this? And look, there's no guarantee that she's able to get it back, but she has an incredibly good record of being able to do that. So I don't want to include that possibility. That I don't want to not include that possibility because she's so good at what she does. So thanks, Chris. Thanks for your time. Look, if you guys are looking to get your website up and running here in 2022, we're going into the winter time right now for a lot of pressure washers and even landscapers. But the beautiful thing about getting a Footbridge site right now is that it has time over the winter to age, and you can start importing all of those projects that you did this past year into your project pages, and you can start getting reviews to your Google My Business and having a real partner when it comes to this. And you're not having to come home and do all of this. Footbridge writes all the content for you for all of your pages, which is, God, like 50 pages, I think 40, 50 is what those sites start off with. If you can imagine me writing 40 and 50 pages worth of content while coming home smelling like bleach, not happening. Click the first link in the description, first link in the comments. It'll take you there. I'll see you guys in the next video. Wow.